All right, let's talk about what's going on with Star Trek because I have a theory on what they're going to do, and it's so cringy. I don't want this to happen. Please stop. Alex Kurtzman, Paramount, listen to the fans. We don't want a live-action office-style comedy show out of Star Trek. What we want is Star Trek Legacy, which follows like Picard's son and maybe a new crew on the Enterprise F, like doing something like that that actually feels like Star Trek The Next Generation or Voyager or Deep Space Nine. That would be great. You've been avoiding doing something like that for a long, long time intentionally, and it's ruined the show. It really has. It's really, really sad. I've actually been going through the old Star Trek movies and Star Trek The Next Generation and really enjoying it, guys. But this ain't it. And just stop, please. We'll get into what's going on with Tawny Newsome developing this live-action comedy show in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, everybody. Smash that like and subscribe button. I cover all things Star Trek. I'm a big Star Trek fan from way back, and all things in science fiction and in the culture, and so I appreciate you guys for being there. Of course, you are the reason we do this. I'm a professional science fiction writer, and if you like Star Trek, I think you'll really love my Oration War series. This is a spy thriller in space. If you remember those episodes where, like, they would, modify themselves to go into an alien culture, maybe as Romulans or whatnot, and then do some mission on that level. I loved those episodes, and it really inspired me as a kid. So in this one, a human spy genetically modifies himself to embed himself on an alien Oration starship in the middle of a war where they're fighting against humanity to try to bring back information to home. And a bunch of crazy personal stuff happens where it goes way off the rails for him, and it gets really, really cool. Now, this is a 3-book series. It builds up, and of course, a lot of Book 3 pays off what I set up in Book 1. So if you read the whole trilogy, you're going to get the best experience out of this. But Book 1 is only 99 cents right now, and you can get in on my science fiction series on Amazon. I'll put that in the description below. It's on ebook, print, and audio. Thank you so much for checking things out and supporting us, guys. It's been amazing. Really appreciate you being there. So on my Fandom Pulse Substack, I gave a overview of where Star Trek's been at, a little state of the Star Trek Union. Ever since Discovery, Alex Kurtzman really has screwed things up, and they made things into a diversity train wreck, as usual. Star Trek Discovery actually started off with some strong viewership. People wanted to check it out because it was a prequel kind of set a little bit before James T. Kirk, and in this like Klingon War situation series where it could have really taken off and done honor to the original series and been right. Unfortunately, they just made it into like a generic dark space fantasy like every other freaking sci-fi, which I mean SYFY, show out there, and it was a complete train wreck. And it only got worse as the seasons went on. Once it got into season 3 through 5, those episodes actually performed the worst out of the series. And if you look at the ratings of the episodes on IMDb, the first couple of seasons, they're okay. And then they do their little time jump into the 31st century. They really make the show stupid and focus on pronouns and gay stuff and black stuff, and it's obnoxious. And so it becomes completely unwatchable. And so the audience reacted thusly. It is the lowest rated Star Trek on IMDb. It's a complete failure. After 5 seasons, they gave it. Oh my gosh, they shouldn't have ever let it go that far. Well, Lower Decks is like the second worst performing Star Trek, and on the Nielsen ratings, it actually is the worst. It has never popped up onto the top 10. Picard and Discovery have popped onto the top 10, but Lower Decks really just hasn't gone anywhere. Like it's one of those concepts like they should have done like a mini series, maybe a handful of episodes on it, because I honestly, like, when it first came on the air, I thought, I like this. This is pretty funny, even though it's like, generic, edgy boy humor, and they do have a little wokeness in it. It's like it doesn't take itself seriously, so it's doable. But once you get into the second and third and fourth seasons, it's like, okay, guys, this isn't funny anymore. Stop. And that's kind of what happened with it. And that's the problem with these type of humor shows. Like when it's a bit parody sort of thing, you got to know when to end it. And so they are ending it with season 5 finally, but it looks like they're going to double down on some comedy stuff. So Tawny Newsome, who plays Beckett Mariner, the Mary Sue character here, who's just better than everybody else. Black girl magic, everybody. That's right. And of course, bisexual, because, yes, please clap. Is now like in the writer's room for Starfleet Academy, which is their new show spinning out of Discovery. Again, that's going to flop pretty badly. They've been wanting to do a Starfleet Academy show for decades. Brandon Brago even wanted to do it and said he wanted to do it kind of like Melrose Place. It's like, stop. This is not what Star Trek is, and nobody wants that out of Star Trek. But they kept pushing it, and finally it's getting off the ground. And worse, now it's not even like in the Kirk era or the Picard era or anything like that. It's dovetailing out of Discovery, and so you're going to get Professor Tilly, the fat chick in it, and all that. Now the one saving grace is, I guess, Robert Picardo is coming back to play the hologram Voyager Doctor. We'll see how that goes, and we'll be covering it here, of course, when it comes out. I don't have high hopes for the series, though, especially with the people involved. Now, very oddly, Tawny Newsom's in the writer's room there and working on writing for Star Trek. So she's pitched to Paramount this summer a live-action comedy show. And this live-action comedy show is again, a static place like a Starfleet Academy. It's set on a resort planet, like a Risa situation. And it's a bunch of outcasts and misfits, she said, again, on that sort of world. And so this seems like a terrible idea. And it's supposed to be done like The Office. I think what is appealing about it to Paramount would be that because it's a static location, it's filmed like The Office or whatnot, it'd be a low-budget Star Trek, right? And so they like the low budget because Paramount Plus is not doing all that well. It doesn't have the content to really drive people on there. And so that's where that's at. She announced that at San Diego Comic-Con. And people asked her about it. She's done an interview with Collider recently. And here's what she said. She said, all I can share with you is we keep writing it. We're turning things in. They keep saying, please keep writing. So as long as they allow us to do that and don't say, stop, close your computers and go home, we'll continue making it. And yeah, as long as they don't tell me, please shut your laptop and throw it into the sea, I will keep working on it. It's been such a joy. I loved Justin Simeon with all my heart. I can't wait to hopefully keep doing it. So this is where they're going. They're writing more and more for this potential series. And I think it is getting close to being greenlit from what I'm understanding from what my insiders tell me over at Star Trek. And with Lower Decks Season 5, there's actually a plot point where I kind of think they're intentionally spinning this out of it. And here's why. They've already done some live action with this. Lower Decks crossed over with Strange New Worlds last season. I was very disappointed with a couple of Strange New Worlds things that kind of broke the immersion of the show because that show actually does okay at honoring Star Trek compared to everything else that Alex Kurtzman's done. That's why it's got the higher ratings on IMDb also, and actually is a decently rated show that does hit in the top 10 sometimes. But they did a crossover episode with Lower Decks where they had a little cartoon bit, and then Tawny Newsome showed up as Mariner in reality, and it was ridiculous. And that's kind of what we can expect from it, I guess, when we get into a live-action comedy show. And so they've already teased it and they've already tested it, right? And I think they liked it. And on top of that, on Season 5 of Lower Decks, there's like these dimensional rifts that are opening up to random dimensions. There's a mirror universe one. There's there's one where they're just slightly different. There's one where everybody's purple. It's been the theme of the season that these dimensional rifts are opening. So a way for them to spin this out of it and actually make it happen is to spin out that Beckett Mariner it goes into like the real world as a real 3D live action person and maybe ends up the captain of this resort planet base or something like that, right? I could see that very much easily happening, like just based on what they're setting up here, and I don't want it. I mean, I can only imagine a show helmed by her, starring her. It's all a self-insert narcissism in Hollywood, right? That they want to promote on this stuff, and it just seems what's going on. Bad idea. This is not Star Trek. Like I said at the beginning of this, what we really want is a Star Trek legacy, a Star Trek the next generation that just that continues after DS9 Voyager, that kind of touches on the themes of Star Trek that we saw and updates things for new exploration. Maybe they can go outside the galaxy now, in the technology, etc. Fun stuff could easily be done with that if you just don't push the diversity stuff, if you just leave it alone, if you just make it about space exploration again, and that's what they don't want to do for whatever reason. I don't understand why these people just hate their fans and refuse to give us what we want. Came very close with Strange New Worlds, but again, it seems to be going off the rails a little bit over there too. So we'll see how it goes in the future, and we'll see if this actually develops. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Do you want a live-action resort planet Star Trek with this lady in charge? Ugh, please check out my book. If you like actual Star Trek and the real feel of Star Trek, grab this trilogy on Amazon. It's in the description below. And I appreciate you guys for being there. 99 cents first book's on sale through Wednesday. And we'll be back soon.